like, is it okay? Because I don't know. So I'm gonna ask you. In every sport, it's against the law to bet on that sport if you play or if you manage. It's against the law, right?
I'm not sure. No, it's not a law. It's just it's rule number 21 in baseball.
Well, within the other major league, the professional sport leagues.
Well, I would think so because there's an inherent conflict of interest. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If I'm the quarterback for the Falcons and I'm betting on the Falcons to not make the spread, I have direct control on whether they do or don't make the spread. So
okay.
I'm only going to assume
that
you can't bet on the sport that you play in. That's ridiculous.
Okay, because I'm just because like I said, I don't I'm one of these people where dudes like Pete Rose, it's a place. Don't say hell, Mike. It's a place for people like no, I'm saying it's a place for people like Pete Rose and Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa. It's a place for them. It might not be in the big hall. Y'all might have a hall of shame.
But what I think too, Rob, is there's a difference. There's an apples and oranges element to that argument. One affects the entire game, right? What A-Rod and those boys did, it affects their game. I'm the person who's always said in every sport, in every major sport, there is no one singular human being that's bigger than that game. And when you put yourself in a position where you're trying to be that, you're screwed, dude. Pete Rose is screwed. Anybody who wants to jump on or stay on that Pete Rose needs to be in the Hall of Fame thing, you're going to be wrong in this case. Because
from the rules, okay, from the rules standpoint, from the rules standpoint, but it's like this is the same dude that just a couple of years ago, Major League Baseball selected him to be the all-century team. So it's like they still recognize his greatness.
Sucks for him.
And see, this is the thing that I hate about players that didn't have to do stupid-ish, right? Okay, Pete Rose obviously had a gambling thing, and he poor judgment led him to do what he did, right? Or greed led him to do what he did. Just like Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds would have been a Hall of Famer without the Roy. A-Rod would have been a Hall of Famer without the Roy. It's crazy.
I always bristle when people say that because we can't predict or
we saw A-Rod though.
We did.
What I'm saying,
we did. But the other thing we didn't see A-Rod get significantly hurt. We didn't see Barry Bonds get significantly hurt, and we all know that PEDs aid in those type of things, recovery, and those type of things, being able to do things longer and harder than maybe your cohorts. So when people say they would have been anyway, maybe not. A-Rod tears his ACL, he ruptures his hip or something.
Okay.
That derails a lot of careers that may have started off. Bo Jackson. Need I say more?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That was but that was what I'm saying now.
But it's the same argument. We always make that argument that Bo Jackson might have been the best running back ever. People make that argument all the time. But then what happened? Yeah. You're left questioning it because and the same thing could have happened to these guys had they not used the steroids. We understand what Ken Griffey was because we all assumed that he didn't, right? So we put him in the category by himself. Right. We put him in the category by himself. But to say a guy would have been no matter what, I don't know. I don't have that
but I'm just
ball.
saying, I just think that Barry Bonds, I just think that, if he had to finish his career in Pittsburgh, he would have been a Hall of Fame. That's just what I think because I just remember how raw this dude was. Barry Bonds was he was one of the rawest baseball players, in the late 80s, 90s, pre-steroid. Skinny Barry was a beast, man.
Yeah.
And again, I understand his greed and, you want the media attention and chasing Hank Aaron and, somebody has given you, the secret ingredient, if you will, the way that you can eclipse Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron and get everybody to shut up talking about Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. And, I understand that, his greed. And to a certain degree, baseball, while it's a team sport, in a lot of ways, baseball is a very individual sport, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't even call it, like, when I hear people talk about team chemistry in baseball, like, why? It's 1 against 9 every time.
No such thing. There's no such thing.
Yeah, I mean, you want to give me, timing between
continuity.
like the second baseman and the shortstop, okay, maybe, or the relationship between the pitcher and the catcher, maybe. But team chemistry, yeah, the right fielder has nothing to do with what the left fielder is doing. Nothing. They're two independent dudes.
It has nothing to do with the catcher.
Yeah, it's just three independent dudes. So, yeah, I understand people, because it's more than one guy on the field at a time. People want to call it a team sport. Fine. But yeah, back to this Pete Rose thing. They're gonna be. You said, Mike, don't say hell. Like, I'm not that guy. Like, I don't have that morality thing within me. It's not about that. Whether it be NCAA, whether it be Major League Baseball, whether it be football, the morality thing has nothing to do with it. What happens is you just put the entire organization in a real terrible situation. I don't remember any other sport having that Black Sox type of controversy where games were actually not even games. Excuse me. The World Series was fixed. The biggest of games were fixed. And to get from up under that, like, the fact that rule and the fact that Pete Rose, the fact one that rule is up in every clubhouse, still to this day in 2015. We're talking about damn near 100 years later almost, right? And Pete Rose can't get back in baseball because he broke it. Tells you how serious that is and how much of a hole that is to dig out of as a sport. Like, once people who legitimately bet on your sport feel like my bet is subject to somebody and somebody else's control. It's not just happening randomly or not happening because, I knew about, the quarterback being hurt or the weather conditions in that particular city or the lifetime record of this coach versus that coach. They're tangible things that you can touch, but basically you have people who are on the field doing things to dictate whether the game, the outcome of the game turns out this way or that way. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. And then when you find out there were mob connections, and the fact that not only there were mob connections, but that he's into these dudes for like $100,000, that gives them control immediately. You want to get from up under this $100,000? This is what I need you to do.
You got to throw it. Yeah.
And even if those things didn't happen, it's the potential of them happening. That once anybody, any public person, just regular citizen hears about that, it's like whatever. Whole game's fixed. Like even basketball. Basketball had still to this day. You see Twitter. A couple of calls get missed. Oh, there it is. The fix is on. And people really believe that stuff. Like, I don't. You know what I mean? I believe one rogue referee did his thing and was doing his thing. And for the most part, yeah, referees are human. They're gonna miss calls. You know what I mean? But very rarely do calls change outcomes of ball games. There are those few times where it does happen, but very rarely does a call here, a call there dictate an entire 48-minute ball game. But you still had those people because of Tim Donaghy that are like, yep, see, NFL, the NBA right there. Frozen envelopes. There we go. Watch. Yeah. Watch New York get the first pick, and then it don't happen, and no one says anything until next year, right? Everyone gets quiet, and then next year they'll say it again. Until eventually one time they're going to be right. One time, the team who they feel like is in the commissioner's pocket will get it and be like, see, told you, it's all rigged. But what happened the other 20 times, Jerome? The other 20 times when you predicted that a certain team was going to get the number one pick and they didn't. Yeah, it's foolery, but you can't, as an organization, you can't allow that. So Pete Rose, whatever, you're screwed. At this point, they ask you to show up for something now. All-Star game or whatever, they actually show up, say no. Because this ain't one of those. There are no more good faith gestures for you. There are no more, okay, I'll show up at this thing with the hopes of one day, them letting me back in. Nah, it ain't happening now. Yeah, Rob Manfred, there's no way he's a brand new commissioner. In light of this new evidence, like, people have a tendency, especially in sports, to forget over time. And forget the severity of something over time, and it kind of gets minimized or whatever. And then people do exactly what you did. Well, shoot, you let Ryan Braun and A-Rod back in the game, and this person and that person, and then it becomes a tangible argument. But then when the man actually did the one thing that you just can't do, like the betting thing was all right, you bet, And I didn't bet on the Reds ever. But then they find out not only did you bet as a player, but you bet in the games that you played, my man. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Old Charlie Hustle, he'd be hustling, he'd be dead in his grave before anybody considers him.
But from everything that that I gathered today, this new commissioner, and I really haven't been following Rob Manfred since he took over. But from everything that I was reading, he's basically, blazing his own path to Major League Baseball. Like he's not following in the footsteps of Bud Selig, who followed in the steps of whatever the guy's name was, who followed in the steps of Bartholomew Giamatti, who originally fired Pete Rose, or suspended Pete Rose, or banned Pete Rose, whatever you want to call it. But, and it was one of those deals where people felt like, especially his lawyer, because his lawyers quoted as saying they felt like, with Rob Manfred, they had a great shot of him reversing it and letting Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame. But it's like, man, when your time comes and you have to be, you have to be what is it that Roger Goodell like? He say, oh yeah, it's very important that you come to me and you contrite when you come to me and you honest and open with me when you come sit down before me. Like when Pete Rose had the opportunity to do that, like he could have just got it all out there. Like, damn, you wrote a book. You could have just like.
But you remember, the book came after him denying he did it at all.
He did it, right? Right.
So he started out with a lie, and then kind of amended the lie, but left a lie on the table. Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, kind of pull like A-Rod.
Yeah,
he pulled A-Rod before A-Rod.
Yeah, and I don't feel bad for the dude. Like, you get what you deserve in life. You know what I mean? For the most part.
Yeah.
Sometimes effed up stuff happens to good people, but most of the time you get what you deserve, and that. As many stupid little unwritten stupid rules that baseball has, and I'm like, that's idiocy, that's stupidity, whatever. Just like the other day, Matt Scherzer, kid from the Nationals, right? He's pitching a perfect game, and then he hits a guy, and the guy didn't make a tried and true effort to get out of the way of the baseball.
He went into the ball.
So what?
He leaned into
so
the
what?
ball.
I'm on the other team, B. Like all that whole you can't bunt when I got a no hitter. Screw you, dude. I'm on a different team. It's not my responsibility to make sure you get a damn perfect game. Go to hell.
The game plan is still the same. Yeah, it's always still
ridiculous.
The same. Yeah.
You can't base the unwritten rules. You can't bunt when a dude is pitching a no hitter. Watch me, cuz you ain't gonna tell me if I'm Vince Coleman, one of the fastest dudes out there, Otis Nixon or somebody, I can't bunt to get a base hit. Man, get the hell out of here. That's ridiculous. So those type of things, I'm like, yeah, I wipe my butt with those. But this one here, when it comes down to, dare I say it, the integrity of the game, that's a stupid word because baseball still don't have no integrity. But the authenticity of the game, let's say that part. That when you see someone strike out, they legitimately struck out because they couldn't hit that pitcher. Not because they got money on the game. You know what I mean? You got to be able to trust that kind of stuff. And if Pete Rose felt like it was more important to satisfy his habit, it's so many other different ways. Charles Barkley got a gambling problem. You know what Charles Barkley didn't do?
Michael Jordan.
Yeah. You know what they didn't do? Go and put money on the Phoenix Suns when he was with them, or Michael Jordan with the Bulls. You feel me? They go to Vegas, bomb out on some craps or some poker or something, go to the golf course, bet like 100 stacks per hole, something ridiculous like that, and get their fill that way. Yeah. When people do dumb things, dare I say it, bad things should happen to you. You know what I mean? When you have control, you're a grown man, you got control, and there's other avenues. It wasn't like, oh God, there's no other thing to bet on but the game that I'm playing and managing in. When it's like when stupid people going wild, like stupid folks going wild, and then now it's like everybody feels sorry for me. I can't get in the Hall of Fame. Well, whatever. It's baseball. They do stupid things all the time. What you want me to say? What you want me to say, Pete? You know what I mean? They don't want to let you in a stupid museum. Yeah, you're screwed. You and your nice, Asian wife have a good life and be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy. I mean, because at some point, you got to give up the fight. Because Pete Rose is like 75 years old. Yeah,
he's done, dude. I mean, now the fight's gonna be over. It's over now. Hey, maybe you can keep it up while there was still some sort of, people, some sort of sympathy for you. Yeah,
but you done lost.
Yeah, no one's gonna have.
Yeah, you lost
for you now. You tried to like you basically tried to bring down the game, B. You know what I mean?